Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another AWS live stream, and today we're going to be going over innovation. So, starting off with day one, what is design thinking? So, design thinking is a method that is mainly used for the purpose of comprehending people, questions, problems, and solutions. It's used to turn ideas into physical and evaluable products as soon as possible. The thinking framework consists of three things: immersion, ideation, and implementation. So these are the five stages of the design thinking process, and they're not always followed in a specific order, and they can often occur at the same time and repeat numerous times. However, the steps are emphasize, empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. So to start off, empathize. This is where you discover the target audience and you learn more about them, such as their problems and necessities. Define is where you determine the problem statement, you focus on users' needs, and you understand that the problem statement is a guiding tool. Ideate is where you collaborate with others with different areas of expertise, and in this specific case, you want quantity over quality. A prototype is where a goal is to create a product that can be evaluated and critiqued. And the last one is test, where users will be able to provide feedback that will help determine if your solution is viable. And this ultimately saves money in the long term. So, now talking about the Cloud Innovation Center. This creates a chance for nonprofit institutions, education services, and government departments to work with other public sector companies. Here, you collaborate on issues of high importance and you can help test issues using Amazon's innovation process. You harness the technology of AWS, and any nonprofit institutions, education services, or government departments can register to work on an assignment. Now, what is a culture of innovation? So, Amazon aims to be the world's most customer centric organization, and they do this to four main customer sets: consumers, sellers, enterprises, and content creators. So, there are four characteristics of an innovative culture: hire builders, fail fast, work backwards, and two pizza teams. So, hire builders is where you hire builders who have different backgrounds and points of view in order to make decisions. Fail fast is where you try all possibilities and be accepting of failure. Work backwards is where you constantly drive customer centric, ingenious thinking. And it's used to make sure that the product is what the customer needs. And then two pizza teams is hire efficient workers in order to minimize communication and unnecessary meetings. It's called two pizza teams because an innovation team should require no more than two pizzas to feed a small and efficient team. And this is the formula for innovation. Innovation is equal to culture plus people plus tools plus slash mechanisms. And this is a video on design thinking that will be posted in the description of the slideshow once the live stream has ended. So, day two starts off with talking about the five W's of innovation at Amazon. What is innovation? Where does it take place? Who innovates? When does one innovate and why innovate? So, what is innovation? What is innovation? It's the successful integration of new thoughts into society. It can take place anywhere, and it can range from inventing something to improving it. Everybody innovates because it's the way one goes about their work, and innovation happens every day because of ongoing events and unexpected circumstances. And the reason to innovate is because everything depends on it. Innovation creates new opportunities in order to serve customers. Now there's models of innovation. So there are numerous models, each with pros and cons, and a way to categorize them is by separating it across a continuum of continuous and discontinuous. So continuous is where innovation is described as implemental, evolutionary, and reactive. And a more linear type changes for constant increase over time. Discontinuous is where there's innovation that's described as disruptive, revolutionary, and transformative. And this is non-linear and abrupt changes. The innovation process is the most common process to uphold innovation, and it's known as working backwards. It depends on working deliberately according to the goal and shared thoughts, and it's constantly injecting innovation into independent and teamwork. It requires working backwards from the customer, and Its meaning is to constantly come back to the customer's ideas for solving problems. And you want to work repetitively while continually reevaluating the problem at hand. Working intentionally is both intentful and determined, and it siphons AWS's customer obsession into solving a certain conflict. Organizations work specifically to make sure that their business decisions are orderly managed and the teams work purposefully together. Here, individual workers take the lead and ownership of their own efforts in order to optimize innovation. And the starting place for working intentionally can be two places. It can be from the vision or the mental models. The vision is an idea of how certain things could be contrasting to how they are currently, and this contradicts conventional wisdom. It's rigid on the vision, but relaxed on the specifics. And the mental models. These are basic ideas which act as the base for generating ideas, and they raise these ideas from the ground while providing them with superior direction. They're formed as a statement of cause and effect, and they create new ideas. Working backwards, so this is made up of the 5 customer questions. Who is the customer? What is their problem or opportunity? What is the most important customer benefit? How do you know what they want or need? And what does the customer experience look like? And the objective of these questions is to maintain the customer's importance and to keep them involved in the innovation process. And this is another video that will be
So my
in the
name is
description of the slideshow. Day 3 starts off with talking about working iteratively. The innovation process becomes iterative, especially during execution. And many ideas never get past the analysis phase. This is called analysis paralysis. Execution is when an organization chooses to commit to an idea, and as a result, they will hire a leader and a committed team, and successful execution leads to experimentation. Experimentation is the heart of success, but the research that takes place has to be limited to answering specific questions in relation to serving the customers. There are 2 different types of decisions: one-way door decisions and two-way door decisions. So one-way door decisions are difficult to return to when they have been made, while on the other hand, two-way door decisions are reversible and they're made quickly by superior groups and high-level individuals. Next, where do ideas come from? So they can come from 4 places. Expertise in a beginner's mind is how where opening a mind influences perspective and helps new ideas to emerge, and it prevents things like personal bias, assumptions, and limitations. Next, there's irrational optimism and grit. So these are ideas that are not commonly accepted and shouldn't be neglected immediately. It's important to note here that resilience is extremely important because it helps one make their good idea a reality. Being misunderstood is not always a negative. There's listening and imaging, and this is where ideas come from visualizing a customer's idea before they can do so themselves. You get to know your customer and you put yourself in their shoes, and a great amount of AWS's ideas come from listening to customers. And finally, there's history and science fiction. This is where ideas come from a combination of failure and success, and ideas can be inspired from external sources. What is a PRFEQ? So this stands for press release and frequently asked questions. And a press release is a one-page narrative that describes AWS's vision using customer-centric language. Press release or PR is used to envision how the customer is going to react to the product, and it helps to sort through ideas. It also helps to ensure that ideas are actually worthy of investment. And now here are some elements of the PRFAQ. So it's a skill that takes practice to master, and it's known as the crafting process due to the draft and edit system which is used. Here you share your plan early for feedback from superiors, and the FAQs are developed to answer questions that a customer may have. There are 2 types of FAQs, which is the customer FAQ, which is where you imagine you're the customer and you're writing questions and answers that your customer would have. And there's also the stakeholder FAQ, where it's about questions your superiors or partners may ask. And it's crucial to identify difficult questions early when working backward and to incorporate these as both customer and stakeholder FAQs. What is a visual? So this allows one to explore the customer experience, and it's used to show how the customers will use the product and how they want to use it. As a project matures, the visual can become more detailed, and it's how pictures, images, and diagrams express ideas. It also maximizes the effectiveness of a presentation. And this is a video that will be in the description. So day 4 starts off with talking about an example of a visual. So this comic right over here basically shows how a customer has a problem and has to use a product in order to solve their problem. And the importance of this is to figure out the customer experience and how your product is going to make it as easy as possible for them to use and to solve the problem that they may have. So Amazon leadership principles. These have been incorporated in Amazon since 2002, and they explain how Amazon conducts business. It explains how leaders manage, and it also explains how decisions are formed for customers. So what are the 17 leadership principles? These are the 17 leadership principles. So it's customer obsession, ownership, invent and simplify, write a lot, learn and be curious, hire and develop the best, deliver results, insist on the highest standards, think big, bias for action, frugality, earn trust, dive deep, have backbone, disagree, commit, deliver results, try to be the greatest employer, and success and scope bring great responsibility. So starting off with customer obsession and ownership. So customer obsession is where leaders begin with consumers and work backwards, and they work diligently in order to maintain customer trust, and they focus on customers and keep competition under a close eye as well. The skills required for this is humility and empathy. Ownership is where leaders equals owners, and they plan for the future and don't sacrifice the future for immediate gain. This represents the entire company, and it takes the initiative to help out. The skills required for this are persistence and integrity. And a quote from Jeff Bezos on the right says, "The number one thing that has made it successful by far is the obsessive compulsive focus on the customer." Now talking about invent and simplify and write a lot. So invent and simplify is where workers are required to provide innovation and invention to their work. They should always work to simplify matters, and leaders should constantly search for new and innovative ideas. The skills required for this are diligence, flexibility, and the ability to be misunderstood. Then there's write a lot, and this is where leaders have good judgment and intuition. They look for different perspectives and work to disprove beliefs. The skills required for this are humility and optimism. And this is another video for the description. And now day 15, which talks about learn and be curious and hire and develop the best. So learn and be curious is where leaders are never satisfied and always look to improve themselves, and they're also curious about new opportunities. The skills needed for this are learning and being conscientious or diligent. Hire and develop the best is about acknowledging outstanding work and willingly promoting them. And here, leaders create other leaders and seriously consider their coaching of others. The skills required for this are courage and investing. Next, there's delivering results and insisting on the highest standards. So deliver results. So this is where you key in on the main suggestions, and despite problems, you persevere and never settle. The skills required for this are commitment and deliver. Insisting on the high standards is where leaders have incredibly high standards, and they're constantly looking for more and motivating their team to produce superb products. The skills required for this are being exceptional and uncompromised. Think big and bias for action. So think big is where leaders encourage broad thinking and they encourage ambition across the working place at all times. The skills required for this are innovation and optimism. And then bias for action is understanding that speed is very important in business, and it's calculated risk taking, and that being a valuable skill. The skills required for this are risk taking and speed. And then frugality and earning trust. So frugality is maximizing spending efficiency, and this leads to resourcefulness and clever thinking. The skills required for this are creativity and adaptability. Earning trust is where leaders should listen, speak, and treat others respectfully. They should know that their employees aren't perfect, and the skills required for this are trust and honesty. Diving deep and having a backbone. So, diving deep is where leaders conduct business at all levels and are up to date on all the details. They're expected to push through any problem that they may face because no task is under them. The skills required for this are being detail oriented and demystifying. And then finally, have a backbone to screen commit is where leaders can make tough decisions, but they have to have a strong view and need to be ruthless whenever they need to be. The skills required for this are conviction, and cohesion. delivering results to try to be the best employer possible. So for delivering results, they're viewed by employees as a highly important principle. You want to rise to the occasion and be a leader and deliver results for certain products. You also want to take responsibility for ideas that you have created for a product and also try to be the best employee possible. So be a leader that has the objective of making their work environment a cooperative and safe place. Employees have to be able to share ideas respectfully with others, and they have to make sure that employers have to make sure that employees are growing, empathized for, empowered, and they're ready for what's next. And then success and scope and great responsibility. The size of a company matters, and this is because it gives them power over the consumers. Since Amazon is one of the largest companies on planet Earth, it empowers customers, gives power to the commander of the company, and helps the company expand beyond its size at the moment. And so that's it for this presentation. The next presentation will be on startups. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you next week.